I have to say though, Thibaut Courtois, oh my Jonas brothers.
Why Thibaut Courtois is not the best one?
In
Tell
the
me why.
world.
This is goal. And when they say no, he said no.
That's Zlatan. But I wish you and Zlatan were too. That would be great. I'm in London for now, but I'll be joining you guys soon, hopefully.
Maybe you're not that welcome that you think you are.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he starts jumping.
Like when your granddad just finally comes to the center and busts out these moves.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to La Liga Centro, our nice little podcast where we talk about all things La Liga. Obviously, Alexis Nunes in London, Rodrigo Faez in Madrid, and Gemma Soler in Barcelona. I'm in London for now, but I'll be joining you guys soon, hopefully. Gems, we're due a vacation.
Really? Are you sure?
No, just cool. Yeah.
Maybe you're not that welcome that you think you are.
Maybe I'm not as welcome as I think I am.
She is.
Always is. Thank you, Gems. So we're all hanging by a thread, which explains why I'm in a SpongeBob SquarePants sweatshirt. Gem and I arrived from Paris last night. We're absolutely tired. That's why I'm wearing these, so you can't see the bags under my eyes. But we moved because we cannot go off on our fancy footballer vacations yet until we talk about some things to close out this La Liga season. But before we get there, obviously we were in Paris, and Gemma Soler's worst nightmare came true as she had to watch Real Madrid win their 14th Champions League title. We'll get to Gemma's horrible experience there. But Rodri, you're in Madrid. How's the partying been?
I don't remember anything, so I guess it was great. no, it's only a joke. No, yeah, I mean it was massive. You know, I live in the center of the town. You know, like 3 blocks away from Cibeles fountain. You know, and all the people were running on the streets. You know, with the Spanish flags, with the Real Madrid sleeves put on, and you know, I think it was the best celebration that I remember so far. Because you know, in the past Real Madrid finals, I was at the stadium, but this is like the first time I stayed here. And it was kind of strange for me, you know, because I saw so many people, I mean, thousands and thousands of people celebrating that, you know, that it was kind of weird for me. I don't know, Gemma, you were in Paris. I don't know if you felt the same.
Well, the celebration was crazy in the grass just after the referee said it was the end of the game, and they were so excited, all of them, even those players who had already won 5 Champions League titles. That you say that and it sounds crazy, but especially in front of me I had the youngsters. I could see Rodrigo, Vinicius, Camavinga, and they were so excited. They had a blast. It was such, all the excitement came through, and they started dancing, jumping, and another youngster making history called Carleto Ancelotti, 62-year-old.
Did he dance?
Joined them.
Or no?
Yeah, yes, he did dance. He started jumping. He started jumping. I mean, it was such a great picture. I was still commentating from LATAM, and I was like, okay, I have to explain this picture, even maybe you are not watching it on TV, but it's Ancelotti joined by Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Camavinga. All
that's like, you know, like the grandfather in a wedding, like, you know, like being the big star of the show. Like, I mean, it's kind of strange, you know, but respect.
It's like when your granddad just finally comes to the center and busts out these moves.
Yeah, dancing reggaeton, you know, like.
And Alexis, it was not a nightmare at all. I mean, they were the better team in the final. They deserve it.
Don't lie, Gemma. It's okay.
It's true. And I really like the way Carlo Ancelotti managed this year. And they were dead many times, and they managed to stand up. They were like about to be knocked out in the ropes, and they stand up and they fight until the very last minute. And they, of course, deserve this Champions League.
And I mean, we've all obviously, as fans and as professionals, we've seen Real Madrid win a lot in our lifetime. But I think especially this season, when you looked at all of the I suppose predictions, the betting odds and stuff, I remember we at ESPNFC posted that Liverpool were 65% favorites against Real Madrid, 65%. And I remember looking to even a lot of our analysts on ESPNFC on the English side too. I remember being sat beside Frank Leboeuf, you know, 98 World Cup winner, played for Chelsea. And when they went to halftime and it was still 0-0, I remember he said, "Oh, Real Madrid might be happy they could catch a break because Liverpool were just on them." And I said, "You know what? No," I said, I've seen this so many times in La Liga this season. This is what Real Madrid want. This is the same script we have seen them perfect time and time and time again. But as Gemma said, when you look at the celebrations, you guys can let me know if you think so too, but it seemed like this one meant just a bit more, because it's rare that Real Madrid feel like they have a point to prove.
Yeah,
but it felt like they had this one. I remember even talking to Toni Kroos in December, and I said, you guys, you're so far ahead in La Liga at that point, ahead of the Madrid derby. You're so far ahead in La Liga. You know, you guys are dominating. How do you do it? And he laughed and he said, I don't know how we're doing it because we're not playing well. And I remember him admitting that. And I felt like they knew this isn't the Galactico Real Madrid that dominates as we've seen. And you go up against Liverpool. Liverpool did everything right, you would say. But you could see how much it meant to them after, because did you not feel like they almost still had a point to prove?
Yeah, but the thing is that it's Real Madrid. We're talking about the best club in the world. And when you are the best club in the world, everyone wants you to lose. And that's why they are waiting for you to have like a weakness, like, for example, this year, because I know, and we all know that the Real Madrid squad this year is not as good as it was before with Cristiano Ronaldo, with so many players that left. But still, they have Modric, they have Benzema, they have Thibaut Courtois, they have Carlo Ancelotti, you know, and they have this passion and this tradition, this way of winning, you know, that gets on everyone's nerves. And that's why everyone were like, you know, like, okay, they're going to lose now. No. Oh, PSG out. They're going to lose now. Oh, no, Chelsea out. They're going to lose now against Pep Guardiola. And they lost again, you know. And that's why everyone was at the final like, okay, we're going to cheer for Liverpool because these guys are going to win everyone. And that's at the end what they did. They won everyone and they fought everyone and they got everyone out of the Champions League. So that's why, for me, they are fairly deserved champions. So, you know, my respects and my credit to Carlo Ancelotti and those guys, because for me, they made an outstanding competition, not only in Champions League, but in La Liga. You know, they won with 4 games in advance, which is, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, and 13 points difference to second place Barcelona. Yeah, I think, and this was supposed to be a transition year, as Rodri mentioned. We thought new coach, they Varane and Sergio Ramos, such key pieces in the defense were out, so we were expecting a team with more difficulties. We will be talking about this later, I think. But when the La Liga started, we all thought that Atletico, defending champions, had a better squad than Real Madrid, and they did some games really bad. As Alexis mentioned, they played bad in some of these games. They struggled in the beginning of the Champions League. They lost at home against Sheriff Tiraspol. Who knew Sheriff Tiraspol? I mean, they have done crazy stuff. They lost the El Clásico 4-0 at home. So but then when they had to focus into something, they did. And in the final, I can understand. I'm not gonna say Frank Leboeuf. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But they were the smartest team on the. But they were the smartest team, because they say, okay, Liverpool, you go and play. And at some point they had their chances. That they knew they will be having that, and they were very pragmatical then when to get the goal and then to hold them. And I think as a team, I'm thinking Liverpool is better. Liverpool are better. Man City are better. Have Chelsea maybe 2, but Real Madrid has better individualities, and they have such as insurance, all risk insurance with Thibaut Courtois. They have an amazing striker, and they have the brain there with Luka Modric. With that, you can win any team at any game.
I have to say though, Thibaut Courtois, oh my Jonas brothers, the great wall of Belgium he was. Only Jesus saves more, I think, on that one. I mean, we have to throw in, because Rodri is good friends with him. Rodri, did you send him a message? Did you say, fam, what a performance?
No, because it's the thing that he's been doing for the past 3 years since he arrived to Real Madrid. I mean, for me, that's nothing new. I know all the people now and all the world is like, oh, what a performance by Thibaut Courtois. He's been doing that for 3 years at Real Madrid. I mean, for me, that's nothing new. He's the best goalkeeper in the world. And if not, please tell me why. Tell me why, like the Backstreet Boys song. Tell me why. Tell me why Thibaut Courtois is not the best one. Tell me why. Yeah, come on.
He said put some respect on his name. Do you guys feel he's been underrated? At least this season.
You know,
yeah.
by the way, did you? Sorry, Gemma. Do you know that he wasn't at 100% fit on the Champions League final game? He had like a problem, an injury in the hip bone. You know,
Ooh.
and imagine, you know, if he's at the 100% at his best. Yeah.
You know, Alexis, I didn't explain you that when we saw each other after the final, but during the game, in the middle of the game, I had a chat with Thibaut Courtois.
Oh, as you do.
What
did he say? What did you talk about? Because he was very busy. I don't know how he had time to have a chat.
Well, he had between 3 and 4 minutes free, and this was the moment where the VAR was going through the Karim Benzema goal. And so it was long minutes, and he was kind of nervous and he didn't know what to do. And at some point, he looked at us, and I was just behind his goal and said, "It is or not it is?" And I was like, I don't know, because it was very complicated, that goal. It was depending on the knee, or if it was voluntary or not. And at some point he was like, okay, I'm going to come. So he came to our TV and he started watching at the replay, but he was unlucky because the moment he watched, there was no replay. So he was going away. And I was like, yeah, no. And he was coming back. So it was kind of funny. And eventually he said, this is goal. And when they say no, he said, no.
Yeah, he said a nasty word. But either way, he was an absolute star in that match. So I guess looking back at Real Madrid this season, we did see a lot more, I think, holes in their armor than usually. We keep comparing this Real Madrid squad and team to the Real Madrid of old with the Galacticos and everything. But still here, they finished the season, you know, with the Supercopa that they won in Saudi. They also did win La Liga and wrapped it up early to concentrate on the Champions League. And then they won the Champions League, taking out the likes of PSG, Chelsea, Manchester City, and of course, Liverpool in the final. I still think people didn't really quite expect them to do that, which is weird because we're talking about Real Madrid here. But is this as close to a perfect season that Carlo Ancelotti would have wanted? I know nothing is ever perfect, because they probably would have wanted the Copa del Rey too, but close to perfect, right?
Definitely. And without Mbappe. Sorry, Kylian.
And without Mbappe, exactly.
This is not an attack from my side, but I mean...
But it kind of is.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season in Madrid, they all wanted the squad to compete, you know, and to be at least fighting for the titles, not winning the titles. And, you know, there was a point in which, you know, I think it was like mid-April, in which all the people inside the club, they were saying like, man, we can be there. We can win the league because it's kind of easy, because we did it really, really well in Spain. But I mean, we've been through, you know, tough times against PSG, against Chelsea, but we're able to do this. If we did it against PSG and Chelsea, why not? I mean, why not? Why not can we be the champions, the final champions of the league, and the Champions League winners? And why not could be this kind of a perfect season? I mean, they won the Supercopa, as you said, Alexis, and two more trophies, two more major trophies like Champions League and La Liga. I think they're prepared for everything, and in the transition this season, you know, as it is. And the thing is that, you know, they're going to reinforce the squad, and they're going to be even massive for the next year. I don't know if this season is going to be that perfect as could be next season, but at least they did it a great job, and they proved that Real Madrid doesn't really mind who's playing, that, you know, that sleeve is even better, you know, than the others.
It truly is. And I remember even reading just a stat that we posted on ESPN FC too, that in the last 21 years, La Liga teams have played 17 Champions League and Europa League finals against non-Spanish teams, and they've won every single one. And this is now that we're looking at, you know, a time where people say the Premier League is probably the best. Again, when Madrid came up against PSG looked at like favorites one point, even against Chelsea, even against Manchester City. And again, like I said, Liverpool were massive favorites going into this one. They showed why they are favorites too. They probably did everything right, and still they lost. So unbelievable stuff there, man.
You know, they are so competitive. They are Real Madrid, and they know what to do at the right time. And I think Carlo Ancelotti was very well aware of his own vulnerabilities, and he played it so well. They are so competitive. They always are.
Right. Well, enough about Real Madrid, because I'm sure we can continue talking about it and Gemma's ears will probably start to bleed. So let's move on to, I know it's early. We haven't even had our vacation yet, but let's kind of stick to early predictions coming up for next La Liga season. Who do you think has the biggest point to prove? Let me start because there's still quite a few, but for me, I need Atletico Madrid to come correct, because what went on this season, I think for the first time, and obviously you guys can correct me as well if I'm wrong. This is most time that we've covered La Liga. Obviously it's our first years with our rights, but this is the first time I think I heard so many doubts about Diego Simeone and if he really even is the person to lead Atletico Madrid. And that to me is just crazy, because we're talking about Cholo Simeone here. You know, I think when you think him, you think Atletico Madrid, vice versa. But what worried me the most this season was that on so many occasions, we saw them playing matches and we were wondering, what are they trying to do? Do they even know what they want to do? Which is crazy. Again, you know, I think even speaking to Jan Oblak, we've spoken to him quite a few times this season, and even you could see a breaking point. You know, he said, I don't know what's going wrong, but I don't even know how to explain it. It seemed like they were losing their identity, which is something that you never hear when you talk about a team under Diego Simeone, who seems so sure of himself, sure of what he wants to do, stick to his guns. But so I think for me, they have the biggest point to prove. Or what do we expect from them next season?
They should improve on defense. I mean, that's all about Simeone. I mean,
at the very least.
Yeah, the thing is that Simeone's identity with Atletico Madrid is just, you know, like a big defensive team, you know, built from the back to the rest of the lines, and that's why you know, if you see Mario Hermoso, Felipe, even Savic with the injuries, and Jimenez, you know, I mean, they were a complete disaster. I think only the only good news for Atletico Madrid have been Reinildo, you know, the guy who came in the winter window. I mean, the rest has been a massive disaster at the back, and that's why Atletico Madrid, for me, the thing that they have to do is just to go back to what made them famous, which is, you know, like a strong defense, a very physical defense, like Simeone's style. And that's why for me they failed to be up there fighting against Real Madrid for the La Liga title, I think.
But just 2 weeks ago, one thing quickly, I had the interview with Stefan Savic again, and he brought up that match against Manchester City that was very scrappy, very kind of Atletico de Madrid that we know and love, very kind of old school, dirty football, some people will say. And he said, when we play like this, when we play this way that we think is the Atletico Madrid way, all people say is how ugly it was, how boring it is, how it's not positive anymore. So he's like, it's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And then people at the beginning of the season, I remember, were saying, look, you have good attackers at Atletico Madrid. Unleash them, let them go forward, let them open up, let them play. And then we sometimes saw them do that. And again, it didn't work. So it kind of feel like they were confused. And Gems, do you think Cholo kind of got confused with what he wanted to do as well?
Yeah, well, about his future, what you mentioned before, I think he still is Sir Cholo Ferguson. So I think he still has a lot to do in Metropolitanos. Yeah, there were criticism, I think, because the expectations were too high, because they were the defending champions. And I also think that this squad is probably the one with the most quality that Cholo Simeone had in his time at Atletico Madrid. And I think, yeah, at some point, Alexis, as you mentioned, he got kind of confused. And in the season, the times where Atletico were better, it was the times where they were playing what Cholo Simeone believes in. And he probably was not having the players according to that, or they were not fit enough in the moment he needed. So I have to agree with you that I think that Atletico is the team who needs to prove the most, because we all were kind of not expecting much from Barcelona after Messi's departure, all the youngsters and all the financial problems. So I think Atletico, we were expecting to be there trying to fight for La Liga, and he couldn't do that.
Rodrigo, you're close to Atleti, I know that too. And to Cholo, where do they strengthen? Are you hearing of any targets that they may want to bring in?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to keep Joao Felix and Griezmann, which for Simeone, both of them are like the main guys in attack. On the midfield, they're looking for a very physical midfielder, because Hector Herrera just left to MLS. And I think that they're very focused on defense, because they need at least a couple of backs, it doesn't really mind if they're left or right backs, and the profile they're looking for is like the kind of player that can play, for example, the right back, but he can play also as a center back. So he can get the more combinations, the better to face another big season, the next one, because they have to prove that they are still Atletico Madrid. They have to prove that Atletico Madrid is going to be up there. Doesn't really mind what happened this season. So that's why, they're trying to reinforce the defense with maybe a couple of players, maybe even 3. But the rest of the team, I think, is going to be more or less the same,
Well, I'm sure we can talk about Atletico Madrid for quite a bit of time, but I'll save it because there's 2 more teams I definitely want to touch on. One being Barcelona. We need a lot of time for that now that we've got Gems. But another team I have to touch on, which I think has a point to prove still, is Sevilla, because we saw Sevilla flirting. Rodrigo rolls his eyes, but we saw Sevilla flirting. I love me some Sevilla, partly because I do love going down there because they have great food. So I want them to keep inviting.
A good salmorejo.
A great salmorejo. If anyone wants to send me salmorejo.
And El Arrebato, the song they sing in the beginning.
Por eso
que hoy vengo a verte.
Hey, goodbye. See you next week.
La muerte.
Gorgeous. If none of you have been to Sevilla yet, you must go. It does live up to the hype, but the team kind of needs to live up to the hype. At the beginning of the season, we got invited to do exclusive interviews with, administrators as well as Ivan Rakitic, and all of them said the same thing, that they want more respect because they've got European pedigree. They want to be known because when everyone thinks of La Liga, it's Real Madrid, Barcelona, and of course now Atletico Madrid more so. And they're like, hey, we're here too, and they flirted with it and then some crazy results that eventually helped Real Madrid wrap things up early. It's like they couldn't hold on, guys. What? And then of course Anthony Martial came. As a Man United supporter myself, I thought that would have been a good hit. I still think he's a quality player, but then that clearly didn't work out either. It's like, when are Sevilla gonna sort things out, or what do they need to sort things out?
Maybe when they change the coach. Yeah. I'm clear with this. I mean, I'm quite direct in this way because I think Lopetegui is a massive coach, but maybe he's not the best one for Sevilla, because I mean, you already mentioned Alexis, that they have Rakitic, they have Lucas Ocampos, they have Martial, they have Papu Gomez. I mean, they have Acuña. I mean, they have a really good squad for only making this, and everyone would say, like, what do you want for Sevilla, because they got qualified for Champions League next season? Okay, fair enough, but I think they were more powerful than the table at the end of the season proves. And I think that if they didn't really have that injuries that they had through the season, they could have been up there fighting for the La Liga title against Real Madrid. I'm pretty sure they were kind of close last year, and they were like, we're not good enough. But this year they improved, and they didn't sell any player. I mean, they kept Diego Carlos and they kept Koundé. So I mean, what else did you need, Lopetegui, to be up there against Real Madrid in a kind of a strange year for Real Madrid?
But we're talking about the team who has the 4th budget in La Liga. I mean, it's quite according to the position they finished. So I think it's maybe asking a bit too much for them to compete with Real Madrid. And yeah, they have a quality squad, but it's not as big as Real Madrid has, for example. So I think they missed some key pieces at the very more demanding time. And do you remember they struggled so much with injuries? So I think they need the physical part, or maybe they were unlucky, or they had a problem with the physical part, because when they were in the knockout stages from the Europa League and the key games in La Liga, Lopetegui was having so many injuries.
Yeah, but that's Lopetegui's fault as well, because I mean, the physical preparation, or whatever you call it, is something that is directly related to Lopetegui, because he has his own coach, technical staff, whatever you call it. So that's why I blame Lopetegui, because I think they needed something else from the bench. And the thing is that in the worst Atletico Madrid in 10 years and against the worst Barca maybe in 20 years, I mean, they weren't able to be up there.
This was their best chance.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, but they have Monchi, so he might be looking for some star signings. And Alexis, I'm sorry to say that, but Marcus Rashford is one of the guys they are looking for. What do you think about that?
It's too expensive, that one.
Oh, that's good. That would be a very interesting one. I know Marcus quite well, and he does like some warm weather. So I think Sevilla, he will definitely love that, because even in winter, I was just in a sweater like this. I do love me some Sevilla. So please invite us back. And I will be there singing in the sidelines on our mic. We won't sing anymore. And then finally, let's quickly, I suppose, talk about Barcelona, if we can ever quickly talk about Barcelona. Expectations quickly for next season, Gems, because I feel like it started as a disaster, went into a deeper disaster, and then came Xavi and certain things started to go right, and then it went bad again. Yeah, disaster. But then in the end, I feel like we ended with some hope, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the word, Alexis. There is some hope, but there will only be hope if they can manage to fix that financial disaster they are put into. So this week is such a key week in that matter. There will be a meeting with the board of members. They have some operations they are thinking on signing with CVC. They are thinking about selling the 49% of the merchandising and stuff, also the Barca studios, to have money to be able to sign. With this team, Xavi has been very clear, is not good enough to compete. I need more players. I need a goal. I need a physical guy in the back. I need fullbacks. I need a substitute for Jordi Alba. I need many stuff. And if you don't give me that,
they need a Robert Lewandowski.
They need a Lewy. Yeah, they probably.
Who doesn't? I mean, we don't need a Lewy.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't need a player who can score 50 goals per season? It's not because they were thinking on the future, and Lewandowski is not future; it's present. Yeah. But they also need to win to be able to be competitive, to be able to keep Pedri, Gavi, all these players winning. Because if they are never in the winning mode, it's difficult for them to progress. So it's very hard for me to say the expectations, Alexis. I think we really need to see what happens in the financial part of the club, what signings Mateu Alemany can do, and then we can start thinking if this is that low Barcelona we were expecting, depressing, it was, the half of the season it was, or if there is still some hope.
Rodrigo, what do you think? Because we saw the disaster at Barcelona at the beginning of the season. We were wondering where they were going to go. Yes, they didn't really win anything, but at the end of the day, to finish behind only Real Madrid doesn't really seem like that much of a failure considering how it started.
I mean, this year, Barca has been a disaster. The good thing, I mean, if all the Barca fans, you know, that follow us would say like, okay, tell us something good, you know, something positive for the midterm. And I'm going to say one thing. I mean, since Xavi arrived to Barcelona, I mean, Barcelona, at least, you know, maybe not in the way they play, because I think it's something that they have to improve in, but, you know, the results are not that bad. You know, if you compare Xavi and Ronald Koeman, it's completely opposite team. And I think that, you know, once Xavi's in charge of everything, I think that Barca fans should be kind of a little bit optimistic. Doesn't remind if finally they arrive, you know, like the big names like Lewandowski or Azpilicueta or whoever. I would be kind of a little bit more optimistic. I think they won't struggle like this year, which is, I think it's easier to say, you know, mostly if you see how the Barca, the team, how the Barca ended the season. But I think they need much more to be up there and face Real Madrid. I think they need much more in terms of, you know, better defense, a little bit of more experience in the midfield and better strikers, because I know that Dembele is nice, but I don't know if he's going to stay next season. I know that Aubameyang is stopped because he's one of my favorite players of all time, but you know, I think they need something else.
Okay, final bit now. We've got some questions from you guys. Thank you so much for sending them in. We're going to get all of us to kind of try answer them. We call them preguntas dificiles, difficult questions. We'll see how difficult they really are though. Number one, who will be Real Madrid's next Galáctico? Well, we know it's not going to be Kylian Mbappe, at least yet, for the next 3 years, probably. But who else can give them that je ne sais quoi? Comes from France.
I'm going to say one name that is going to be kind of, you know, surprising for the people. I'm going to say Tchouaméni. the guy who plays for Monaco.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been reporting on ESPN that is the main target of the summer for Real Madrid. And I think that he's going to be like the defensive midfield of the future. So I think, when everyone would have read on ESPN website, like Tchouaméni could cost like 80 million euros, everyone were like,
no.
Why so expensive? He's going to be cheaper. He's going to be the next Galactico. Believe me, Tchouaméni. We do believe on him.
Gemma, you've been reading a lot on him. You think so? Galactico?
I don't think he's a Galactico. I cannot see any shiny signing that Real Madrid can make that it's better than Benzema, Vinicius, or Rodrigo. I cannot see it. So I think they will be having a Galactico, but it will be at least 2 years far away, and it's gonna come from France, I think.
Come back in 3 years. Come back in 3 years, and we'll talk about Tchouaméni. Believe me.
Oh, 3 years. I thought you were going to come back in 3 years. So we'll talk about Mbappe again, because then
I don't know who Mbappe is. Sorry, I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Who are you? Oh gosh, he's just going to continue getting roasted. You know what? Let's go to, because we do have a Kylian Mbappe question. Shock. Someone's asking, will Kylian Mbappe ever play for Real Madrid? I think yes.
I think yes too, in 3 years.
Eventually.
Because we don't know, I'm not sure what will be happening with PSG after the Qatar's World Cup. And I think in 3 years he will make a move. And I think if he's at this level, Real Madrid supporters will forget about what happened last weeks.
I think 1 or 2 more seasons of not winning the Champions League, he's going to be like, okay, do you know what? I gave it my all. I tried to stay loyal to my country, but I want that trophy. I need that trophy.
That will depend on Florentino Perez, and I'm not really sure if he's gonna mine at this of the season. Kylian Mbappe has the Real Madrid doors closed.
Ooh.
Yeah, because they
sounds
didn't.
Like me when I talk about my ex. That's right, Florentino.
Okay, no.
So once you flip that switch, it stays off.
It's a different thing, but the thing is that in Real Madrid, they didn't like the way Mbappe, treated everything, the whole situation and how it ended up, and that's why at this point of the season, of the year, of the whatever, he has Real Madrid doors closed. And I mean, I don't know if these in 3 years may change, but if Florentino stays at Real Madrid as a chairman, I see it quite difficult, because I don't see Florentino Perez with the Real, with Sergio Ramos issue, with Cristiano Ronaldo issue, said the club is about any player. I don't see Florentino Perez changing his mind, like, okay, no, now I'm going to shut up and I'm going to sign Mbappe. That's why, I'm not really confident on Mbappe joining Real Madrid.
Rodri, do you think there is a chance that you and me retire earlier than Florentino Perez?
No way.
Probably.
No way.
Might be. I mean,
let go.
No way.
Florentino's like Diego Simeone. He goes when he chooses to go.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, no, that's why I think maybe I will retire from journalism before, and Florentino will still be the president.
Because Gemma's gonna win the lotto and become a billionaire, so we'll all retire with her, and we'll leave on a nice
to Jamaica
party house. Yeah, we can come Jamaica. We'll have a party house. Speaking of parties, Unai Emery's enjoyed a couple of good parties. He's the subject of our next question. I'm gonna throw it out to whichever one of you guys wants to take this, because make a case for why Unai Emery is a top 2 manager in La Liga. I suppose now we obviously have to give number 1 to Carlo Ancelotti, but
yes, I think he is actually Unai Emery, because he managed to get a team with no tradition in the Champions League to the semifinals. They made Liverpool sweat at La Ceramica as they did. They played beautiful in some games. I think they have been inventive. They don't have a shiny signing. I think they are a great team, and also they managed to make his team not to fall they put all that effort in Europe, and of course they suffered a little bit in La Liga, but eventually they managed to get into the Conference League, and they will play European competition next season. So why not top 2?
I do not agree with that. It's going to be a difficult one for me. Yeah, I know. Everyone say like, you don't like Lopetegui, you don't like Emery. I do like both, but with Unai Emery, it happens to me that I think he's very, very good at this kind of UEFA Champions League competition or Europe League,
and I know
I mean, he's one of the top three coaches of, even worldwide. But in La Liga, he managed to be at the 7th place, which is Conference League for the investment the Roche family, the owners of Villarreal, have made on the team. I think it's not enough for them. Even Real Sociedad were higher, than them, and even Betis are higher on the UEFA Europe League for the next season. For me, Unai Emery is a top coach, but he needs something else, in La Liga. When you ask any coach, who do you prefer, or what do you prefer, Champions League or La Liga? All the coaches would say, I prefer La Liga, because this is where everyone would say, okay, this team deserves to be up there, or this coach is good enough. And for me, they needed a bit of more good results for Villarreal, because I think they deserve, and they invested really well on the team.
All right, well, here's one for Gems. Will Barcelona regret offloading Frankie de Jong? Can you see a case where they may be like, maybe we shouldn't have let him go? I rate Frankie de Jong.
Yes, I can see that, because this has already happened to Barcelona, for example, with Thiago Alcantara. And so, yeah, maybe he hadn't played enough time under Xavi's orders. But also it's true that Xavi, at the beginning of his period at Barcelona, he said, this is my brain, this is my new Sergio Busquets, I need this player. And at the end of the season, it was not that clear. But yeah, I think he's the kind of player Barcelona needs in the midfield. And I think we can still give him one more season under Xavi, doing the trail, the warm up, the before the pre-season work, and to see if he can succeed. And if not, bye bye, adios amigos.
Adios amigos. Well,
I agree with Gemma. I think he's good enough to be at Barca, and I think Barca needs a profile of a midfielder like De Jong, because I think he's very young still. He's only 25 years old, so that's why
he's not.
Yeah, true. I understand that Man United or Man City are, kind of monitoring his situation. But, if I were Joan Laporta, I wouldn't let him go, because I'm pretty sure that he will regret by, I don't know, in 2 years, but he will regret by sure in less than 2 months. Like, okay, man, why we let him go?
He's a good player to have. I suppose at least there as an option, I think. And he has come decent enough, I think, towards the end of the season for Barcelona. But I guess it all depends on what Xavi wants. Sticking with Barcelona, though, our final question, can you make a case as to why Robert Lewandowski will not succeed at Barcelona? That's not often that Lewy doesn't, but he has been in one place for quite a long time. Do you ever see a situation where he wouldn't succeed at Barcelona? Oh, Jen came quick.
Yes, I can. And I hope this doesn't happen. I think Lewy would be a great signing for Barcelona, but this club has had kind of a tradition of forwards not being successful, like your friends Zlatan Ibrahimovic, David Villa. Even we could talk about not being successful, not fitting in the team, because Ibra, it was not a matter of injury. It was a matter that he couldn't succeed in, he didn't fit with Messi, with the referees in La Liga. So, and this happened in Barcelona before with David Villa. So yeah, this could happen. And I'm going to make another case. And I think it's a wrong case, but I'm starting to think that there is a kind of course with the forwards in Barcelona since Messi left without wanting, because we had the Kun Agüero situation, the Ansu Fati situation. So I hope, I think I'm completely wrong, but maybe there is a course after Messi in the forward line in Barcelona. Ooh. I don't know.
Rodri's calling someone.
Sorry, no, David, I'll call you later. No, I was talking to David Villa because once Gemma said that David Villa didn't succeed at Barca, it's just like, man, he scored in the Champions League final against Man United. Man United.
Yeah, we don't need to bring this up, Rodri, but yeah.
Yeah, Rodri. No, I know he did great, but he couldn't succeed, not because he didn't work good enough.
As a
do you mean he didn't like live up to full expectation?
I mean that.
What do you think?
Talk to Guardiola and ask him what he thinks about David Villa's performance at Barca. I would tell you he was the best one, and doesn't remind what Messi did, doesn't remind what Dani
That
Alves
he's
did.
ever
He
coached.
was in love with David Villa because once David Villa arrived to Barcelona, he played as a left wing. So that's why he's not like a proper number 9, but doesn't
Yeah.
remind.
I mean,
But
they
the rest,
let
I
him
agree
go
with
for
Gemma.
free. I mean, if he really
Yeah,
succeeds,
because he was injured. He was injured. He was very expensive too.
No.
Yeah, he was in love. Well, anyway, I do agree with Gemma because I think one of the risks for Barca in terms of signing Lewandowski, it's just like, maybe he doesn't get used to Barcelona DNA way of play. And I think it could kind of struggle, It's the only case in which I see Lewandowski struggling, Gemma, because, this is the same profile that maybe Zlatan Ibrahimovic, like a proper 9 area man. And I think for Barca, that's kind of weird. But at the same time, I think it's interesting, but it's the only case in which I see Lewy failing at Barca.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.